Hey yo, people, we are back. Yes, indeed. You know what it is, you know who it is, and you know what we about to do. We about to keep putting in the work to become the best version of ourselves. That's what it's about today. Yes, sir. Yes, sir, buddy. And you know what? In becoming the best version of yourself, we've went through all kind of things. It seems at this moment we've really have grown. You stay live with me, you know, we keep on pushing forward, and that's what a healthy person does. They keep pushing forward, right? Why? Because they're driven. We did a whole episode about that. Go back and watch it. But we're talking today about really getting it done, right? Getting it done. What do I mean by that? When we're talking about getting it done, what I see is that a lot of people are waiting. You see the title, Stop Waiting, right? Stop waiting. Because waiting is going to put you in a place that you're going to keep waiting. Because you're going to keep overthinking, right? You're going to keep on thinking about it. So I want you to know that there's never a right time. There's never the right amount of money. There's never the right setup. There's never, you know, I'm gonna be fully healthy first, right? That is you deciding to psych yourself out, right? That's not what we're doing here. What we're doing here is putting foot to gas pedal, right? Gas pedal, gas pedal. That's what we're doing. We're putting foot to gas pedal. You know what I'm saying? Because the truth is, progress usually starts before things feel ready. Because it's not about what you feel like, right? We've talked about goal setting and things like that. We talked about planning, right? And so once you have your goals, once you have the plan, what are you waiting on? Right? Get started. Right? You have to start where you are. Because too many people are waiting for a version of their life that may never come. That version of your life that you think you need to be at before you can go do a thing, it might not come. You know what I'm saying? And then there's other people who really and truly, if you look at your life, and remember we talked about taking inventory of your life. If you take inventory of your life, what you'll realize is you're probably too prepared. You're probably over prepared. You probably have more than what you need to be able to do the thing. If you really look at it, right? If you really look at it, you've already thought about it. You've already planned it. You've even done your due diligence by talking about it, right? But you still ain't start. What is that about? Right? I think some people might think that it's a wise thing to do, right? Like, I'm not gonna start now, right? I'm just gonna wait a little bit longer before I actually go do that, right? But what we know is sometimes waiting is just fear. It's just fear. We've talked about fear the other day. It's just fear, right? Waiting is fear with better branding. It's better branding for covering up the stinky turd of waiting. That's what it is, right? So today, today we're going to talk about this idea of stop waiting and start where you are. Okay? That's what we're talking about today. So make sure y'all jump in the chat, right? Because I'm going to be getting into some of these different areas of this concept, right? And I want y'all to be able to give me feedback, right? So at this moment, if you have not liked, followed, subscribed on whatever platform you're seeing this video on to the Real Rich B's or Rich B's, one of the two, make sure you go do that now, right? Because on Twitch, we're at 41, or we're at 44 followers. Look at that. I'm getting followers when I ain't even live. Hats off to that. We can celebrate that. You know what I'm saying? That's a little win. We celebrate the little wins on this channel. That's what we do. We celebrate the little wins, right? You're excited. I'm excited because the more people that come, the more people that are becoming a better version of themselves, which leads to ultimately a better society, right? It leads to a better society. A lot more people have joy. A lot more people have, experiences that are driving them to want to treat other people better, right? To want to show up in situations better. And that's the point. The point is we all should be able to show up better, right? Because there's this looming feeling that's going on around the country right now. And I'm talking about the US. It might even be around the world, because I've watched a couple videos where other people in other countries are talking about, feeling on edge and things like that because of, the pending wars and all of these other things that are happening. Okay. All right. Why are we doing this, right? And I think it's still the same thing, right? It goes into the fact of people not being able to show up as their best version because they're driven to either take what you already have, right? Or make sure that they keep themselves on top of others, right? But if we keep going through the content that, the Real Rich B's channel is doing, right? If we keep going through this content, what we end up getting to is a point that we don't have to try to get it from someone else, right? We are what we want to see in this world. The more people who are what they want to see in this world, the better it is for everybody. Because I don't have to manipulate you. I don't have to finesse you. I don't have to come for your things. I don't have to, try to wiggle my way into situations. I'm going to show up. And if that situation's for me, then wonderful. If it's not for me, I'm willing to walk away. I'm willing to leave. I'm willing to enact my boundaries, right? For my own personal peace. And that was the topic I was going to talk about today. Protecting your peace. That was going to be my topic for today. However, I really felt this urge to talk about this though, because there's a lot of people who are waiting for things to get started. We can't keep waiting on things to go forward, right? I was thinking about it, right? And I'm looking at some things that I want to do, right? Now, am I waiting to do these things? Yes. Is there a reason why I'm waiting? Yes. Is it because of fear? Is it because I'm not ready yet? Not necessarily. I'm still in the goal planning phase, right? So that means I am actively working toward it. You know what I'm saying? Here's the thing I want to wrap this in. There is an understanding when your goal is huge, right? When you have a huge goal, that huge goal may take a lot more than you have the ability to do on your own, okay? So I don't feel that that's waiting, okay? I'm trying to frame this for you guys, or for you, chat. So this idea of waiting, I feel like is a little bit different when you're looking at a huge goal, okay? Because you have to put it in perspective because there's work that still needs to be done to walk out this goal, right? Feeling a little, I told you, I don't know what it is. Every time I start going live, my nose starts to act like I want to sneeze. I don't like that feeling. Got to figure that out. But anyway, we're going to still get into it. I'm going to push past it. All right. So we're talking about if the idea or goal is huge, then it's going to take multiple things working to start to make that move. Waiting means I have an idea for it. I probably have the plan. I probably have the goal set, all that kind of thing. But then I'm like, well, okay, I'm going to wait until I get all of this stuff. But I got all the documents stacked up. I've already done the base work and all that. But now you feel like you have to wait. And a lot of people do that. I need money, I need gear, I need whatever. Okay, so here's how we're going to work this out, right? Because if you feel like you need more money to get started, then work on the getting more money, right? Now, when I say getting more money, that doesn't mean that, oh, I have to have it all. That means you can work the phases that need to be or can be worked based on where you already are, right? You might say I need more gear, right? Say your thing is to fix cars or whatever. Well, what kind of tool do you already have, right? What kind of jobs can you do if you're fixing cars? What kind of jobs can you do that doesn't require you having a tool that you don't have, right? Or is it possible that you can go rent a tool, right? You need more support. You need more people to be following, liking, subscribing, or whatever, right? I do. But is that going to stop me from doing the thing? No, we're going to keep going, right? More knowledge. You need to know more information. Okay. If you want to do something and let's say you don't know it all, that doesn't mean anything. What it means is you'll pick up the information on the way, right? I promise you will. Think about this. If you need more time, then time for what? Right? I think we need to cut out all of our feelings of not enough, right? I think we need to cut out all of our excuses because some of the things that you think are reasons are actually excuses, okay? Sometimes people may feel like, their confidence is low and they need more confidence to be able to, maybe get up on that stage, maybe say that thing in front of those people or whatever. The only confidence is to just do it. Like, you know what I mean? Or you need more I don't even know, man, because so many people have so many different there can be so many examples for people saying that they're not going to start because they need X, right? I think when I think through that thought process, because I can think through it logically. Why? Because I have had that, right? In the past, I thought I needed all this stuff before I can do a thing. And I made a different thought pattern in my brain because I was tired of waiting. Okay, there is something I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna tell you this little story that happened to me, and it wasn't to me. It was me encouraging someone else to get started, and I can tell you the outcome, but I'll tell you that in a second. So here's what we know. We know you don't need everything to start, right? I think a lot of people are trying to arrive, right? Or feeling like I need to be before they can take the first step. You only become as you go, right? You can't be this is just wild, but I'm just going to say it this way. You can't be a doctor until you go through all that it takes to be one. Right? You can't just wake up one day and I'm a doctor, right? You can't even go through all the other like not do this stuff and go get you a building, go get you a some office supplies, go get you the medical equipment and all that kind of stuff, and you sitting on all this stuff, but you never actually went through the process of becoming a doctor. You just got all the things to be a doctor, right? You can't just become it. You have to walk. You have to go through the steps, right? And so that requires someone just getting started, enroll in the school, right? Start taking classes. You know what I mean? Like you have to. It's hard to even communicate this because you have to actually move forward, right? You can't stall out. You can't just wait for it to become. You have to do the work. Okay? The work has to get done for you to even reach your goal, right? Or your idea or your dream or your aspiration, right? Because clarity comes on what needs to get done as you start moving, because you don't know what you're going to encounter, right? Clarity's not gonna be there before you do the thing. All you can do is figure out what the goal is, plan toward that goal based on what you do know, and then take a step. That's how it has to happen, right? Because confidence is built when you're moving. The path is going to get clearer as you start walking, right? Think about it. Okay, here you go. Here's another example. Say I go out into the forest, okay? Say I go out into the forest. Let's say it's a field, okay? The reason why I chose a field, you're going to see in a second. But say we go out into a field. Now, as we know, if the field is on a nice sunny day, right, you may have some tall grass, but you can see pretty far in that field, right? You could probably see as far as whatever into the tree line, right? Wherever that is, and that might be far because it's a field, okay? So if you're looking across this field, you see clear to the tree line. If there is no tree line or the tree line is really far, then you can probably see to the horizon based on whatever that day is, right? So if you can see to the tree line, if you can see right to the horizon possibly, then what does that mean? That means there's a clear path for you to keep going, right? And that may be an easy path for you to just, get out there and let's do it, right? Because it's clear. I can see, there's nothing that's obstructing me being able to make it to the horizon. Based on what I see right now, it's wide open. Okay? Now, let's just say that you have, even before I even get to that part, let's say that grass is a little bit taller. Let's say it's a field, yes, but let's say it's a farm. Let's say that farm, what they make is corn. So when you look at it, the corn is almost ripe to get picked, is tall, which means that those stalks are probably 6 foot, 7 foot, 8 foot, possibly even higher tall, okay? Now, you approach this same field, which is a farm, which has all of this corn that's on the stalk. It's up in the air. Now, you can't see to the horizon at this point, right? You can't see to the horizon. What you see to is the first level of the corn stalk, okay? Even though it's not high as trees, but it's taller than you are. And so now the journey is a little bit different, right? If it's rowed up nicely, when I say rowed up nicely, meaning, you know how they plant them in rows, right? They have rows. Okay, so if it's rowed up nicely, there's space for you to walk in between those rows, and you could still kind of look, and you could probably see a little bit further, right, down the rows. And so you're like, okay, I got a little clear path I can wedge through, but I can't see the full vision. I can't see to the horizon, right? I can't see what I'm trying to get to. So I have to walk through this row, and I can walk pretty far because I can see far down the row. But then as, it kind of gets a little bit harder to see in distance the further you go. You might be able to see, let's say, maybe 300 feet in front of you. Okay? Which is pretty far. Now, let's say we knock those back down and we get back to a flat ground. Now we're just on dirt. It's not a field. It's not a field, meaning it has, grass or tall grass. It doesn't have corn stalks. It's not a farm. It doesn't have corn stalks or nothing like that. Now what we have is just a dirt plain, okay, a dirt field, okay. Matter of fact, let's call it the desert, okay. So now we're in the desert. If we're sitting in the desert, standing, we looking out. Now we can see clear to the horizon. There is nothing that blocks our path unless there's some kind of, boulders or mountains or something like that. Other than that, you're going to see clear to the horizon, okay, in a desert. So now, if we're in this desert and we're trying to walk, though we can see the vision, we don't know if there's quicksand. We don't know if there's snakes. We don't know if there's, hyenas. We don't know if there's coyotes out there. We don't know what's out there, right? Even though we can see clear to the horizon, because when you think about that type of environment, a lot of the animals are the same color as the dirt, as the sand. You know what I'm saying? So you don't even know what you're going to encounter. But to get to the horizon, you just got to start walking. Right? Now, here's the thing. Say you're in, we're going to come up out of the desert and we're going to go into now a regular field, okay? When I say a regular field, it's not tall grass, it's just field. It has grass, it has lilies and, little flowers and plants and stuff like that, but it's just a straight on, grass plain, okay? Now, here's the thing. We're going to walk in this area. The time is different though. Let's say now we're first thing in the morning, okay? First thing in the morning. The sun is just coming up, right? Now, a lot of times, first thing in the morning in a field, it probably will have fog, right? Some kind of fog, some kind of dew, some kind of mist, something that's going to obstruct your vision. Even though normally you could see pretty far, right? As you're walking through this field, what happens? You can't see the horizon. You can't see the goal. What you see is fog, right? You might be able to see 10 feet in front of you in this fog. That fog is thick. You know what I'm saying? So now you're like, well, I can just sit and wait until the fog clears. I can wait maybe like an hour or 2 hours or so, and then that fog will lighten up or it'll just kind of dissipate, and then I can just walk clear path through there. But here's the thing. A lot of goals that we have time limits on them. That time limit may be something like if you think about the time limit might be something like based on the time of year it is, I need to have this done before this thing happens, right? The time limit might be like based on what's going on in the world, now is the most appropriate time for this thing to get put out there, right? Based on what's happening right now, if I start it now, then I'll be ready by whenever, okay? So a lot of goals have time frames that they'll be, that they'll work, okay? So if you have a time frame, time limit, going back to this field, and you're trying to get to a destination, you might not have time to wait that 2 hours, right? If we really want to make it urgent, there's people coming behind you that's going for that same goal. I'm pretty sure whatever goal you come up with, I'm pretty sure there's somebody else that's about to boot up and head your direction to hit the goal that you want. Right? That doesn't mean you gotta hurt them or try to, make them not be able to reach it, because that goal is big enough for everybody. But a lot of times the first mover is the person who's gonna get the most success from it. Okay? So if you just step out and keep walking through that fog, what happens is, yes, I can only see 10 feet in front of me, but if you realize every step that I take, I'm seeing an additional step on the end of that 10 feet, right? So if I'm seeing 10 feet, then when I walk one step, now on the other end, I can see another foot, right? Walk another foot, I see another foot. So it's a constant 10 feet in front of me, right? That's all I can see. That's all I need to see. You see what I'm saying? So same thing with your goal, same thing with your dream, same thing with your aspiration. You might not know how to get there. We're talking about the path getting clearer as you walk. Because a lot of people will not know. They'll not know what to do. They'll not know what it takes for them to be able to make that goal. And most people who are successful right now, when they started, they didn't know what it was going to take for them to get to wherever they are. They didn't know. All they knew is what they wanted to do. They knew that, and they knew that they needed to start. So what did they do? They stepped out there and they started something. It might have not even been what it is today. It's just they started, right? Here's an example. If you think about Amazon, right? What is Amazon? Amazon is the number one online retailer, right? Number one by far, right? But when you think about it, were they selling all the stuff that they selling now? They didn't start with it with all these products. They didn't start with all these services. Not at all. Amazon started by selling books. Books. And they didn't even have the biggest selection at first. They had some good titles and they started working the process, right? Then they came up with their own delivery system, right? So that way you didn't have to ship them in the mail. I'm saying that sometimes you just have to start. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to start from the best place. You got to start from your place. You do not have to start from the best place. You just have to start from the place that you are now. That's the thing that people miss. Because you cannot wait for the right time and the right position and the right place and the right understandings and all that kind of stuff to make a move. You got to make the move and you figure out as you go. And that's the part that people feel unsettled about. You know what I'm saying? They feel unsettled about it. Right? How much do you want that goal? Right? How much does that dream mean to you? How much does that aspiration drive you? Right? Because goals, they don't mean a thing if you don't ever move toward them. Right? You can't win the game and you don't make no goals. Right? If you think about it from a sports perspective. Right? Imagine a soccer player playing a soccer game and there's a goal down there. There's a goalie sitting there trying to block, trying to keep you away from it. But you're just standing on the other side of the field. You're not even going for the goal. You're just standing there. I'm waiting. They'll get tired sometime and then I'll, make my way. Maybe somebody will help me carry this ball down the field. You still out of bounds. You sit on the other side of the field. You ain't even pick up the ball to inbound it. You ain't even get in the game yet. You know what I'm saying? You ain't even get in the game yet. Because you're waiting for people to move out your way. You're waiting for, to understand how to play soccer. Like, if you would at least learn the rules, you probably would have got started already. But that's still doing something headed toward the goal. Learning the rules of the game. Right? Once you even start learning the rules, implement something. Try it. Right? I'm gonna give you another example. Here you go. So, and this is a crazy story. Crazy story is, and this is what I normally do on Fridays anyway, right? Like I tell a story. And you know what? Maybe I should tell that story tonight. I should probably tell that story tonight, at the 5 o'clock screen. I don't know. Maybe. I think it's really apropos for this conversation. Yeah. Yeah, because it just means go. Okay. Okay, I'll allude to the story now. I'm not gonna tell the full story, I'll just tell you part of it. Okay. So I never knew, and I never had an experience, and was never taught how to ride a motorcycle, right? I was never taught how to ride a motorcycle. Okay. My friend bought a cheap motorcycle off somebody who just needed to get rid of it. Okay. This motorcycle was like, it was a Yamaha. Okay. It was a Yamaha, and it had like the chrome down the side and stuff. It was kind of like a Harley, but it was a Yamaha, right? And so, he had the motorcycle out there, and I never rode a motorcycle before, but I told him, I said, okay, just tell me where the buttons are, tell me how you change gears and stuff, and and I'm gonna ride it or whatever. And he said, he said, okay, this is for this is for this, this is for this. And I said, all right, I'm gonna go ahead and jump on, and I'm gonna go down the street, and when I come back, I'm gonna know how to ride it. Right? See, I have a confidence in myself that I'm gonna learn while I'm doing the thing. Right? I'll learn as I go. Okay. Now, this is a crazy thing to do while you're doing faster than walking speed on a motorbike. But I thought I could do it, and I went and tried it. Okay. If you want to know the outcome, if you want to know what happened, come back later when I do my story time. Okay. Come back later when I do my story time. I'll do story time sometime around 5 o'clock. As long as I don't get caught up in something that's going on in my family life. But that's normally when I do story time on Fridays. Okay. So make sure you check back, and I'll tell you the rest of that story. But the point was that I didn't know how to do the thing. I just went and did it. Right. And based on me telling you what I said, that shows I had self-trust, right? But self-trust grows when you actually do something. Self-trust grows when you can look back on the evidence of your life and you say, hey, I learn fast, right? Like, or I trust that when I start something, I'm going to do it, right? Because I can look back at the evidence of my life. So that gave me enough confidence that I would figure it out. Okay. That is what I'm saying when I say, once you start to think, just try it, because you never know what happens. You'll never know. But in the grand scheme, you tried it, right? You won't know whether you liked it. You won't know whether you can do it. You don't know anything. All you got to do is keep going. Right? I don't want to use the word keep trying, because the try is the immediate move forward. Right? But then that's not a try. That's you moved forward. Right? So as long as you keep moving forward, right? Keep putting one foot in front of the other, going in the direction of your goal, then you're going forward. You're doing the thing. And that's what matters, right? Your foundation, though, because we talked about foundation, your foundation can lead to or expose what work still needs to be done, right? There's times where I've had to get on stage, right? Because y'all know I rap, y'all know I got music. You can go to richbz.com and /links. You can get to my music. You can get to some of the podcasting things that I've done in the past. You can get to, my book that I wrote. Not because I knew how to do any of this, right? I didn't do it because I knew how to do it. I did it because I wanted to do it. That was the goal. The goal was to do it. And so I went and did it, right? That's why I'm trying to tell y'all, like, it's not about you knowing the thing. It's not about you having everything it takes to do it. It's not about that. Right? Now the reason why I'm giving y'all these examples is because this is real. This ain't theory. This ain't me just shooting off at the mouth and saying, hey, this is what you should do, blah, blah, blah. No, this is me knowing because I've done it. This is how I've done everything I've done. And I've done a lot. Why? Because I make a new goal. When I make a new goal, I'm gonna walk it out. If I have If I can dream it, I believe I can do it. Right? If I can think it up, I believe I can make it happen. And I don't even know what it's going to take. If it ends up being unsuccessful, right? I still did the thing. Because sometimes when you do the thing, it's not about you being successful now. Sometimes it takes time for others to catch up to what you did. Think about it. The podcast I did was back early days when podcasting was basically just becoming a thing, right? And so if you go back and listen to the podcast, you'll see the growth throughout the time we had the podcast. You'll see the growth of it. But in the same instance, that podcast that we did, we were basically I'm not gonna say finished with it, but we were really close to where you'll see is the end. We were really close to that once people really started listening. But we were in a place that we couldn't keep doing it at that time. We had some challenges family wise that we couldn't keep doing that podcast. That's the only reason why we stopped. So if you go back and you listen to that podcast, what you'll see is, one, we just came up with an idea and then we just did the thing. You know, we didn't have everything it took to do it. These days, all these podcast hosts, they got everybody on the thing got a microphone. They got somebody that's working the sound. They doing video. They got, all kind of mixing boards. They got sound effects. They got, all this stuff to do a podcast. They got a great set, all of that. When I started, I ain't had none of that. Right? But by the time we got maybe, I don't know, maybe 20, 30 episodes in, people started listening. We started getting, comments and things on our social media about it. People started sharing it, all kind of stuff. It was a family podcast, right? The ages on the podcast range from 12 up to, at the time, I want to say maybe 36 to 40, somewhere in there, right? And so if I had a podcast at that time and we're doing a family podcast, there's 5 people on this podcast that range in ages, right? It was something that nobody else had did. Nobody else, and I don't even know if anybody else had ever done it. But it was an idea. And we did it. You know what I'm saying? So I wasn't thinking about trying to be perfect. I was thinking about doing the concept, right? I learned stuff as I went. And the only way you're going to learn stuff is you don't learn by waiting. You learn by moving. You learn by going through things, right? Because if I had waited for everything to be right for me to do that podcast, I'd probably still be waiting, because I'm just now getting to the fact that I got enough microphones that I could really, really do it like that. But when we started with one microphone. We put the microphone in the center of the room and we all talked toward that one microphone. Made it happen. You know what I'm saying? Did it, let that bad boy fly. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not trying to tell you to be me. That's not what I'm trying to do. I want you to get the concept. The concept of stop waiting. Start where you are. Start with what you have. Right? Here's another example. So my daughter said that she wanted to edit videos. Right? I bought her a computer. Even though I was editing using Final Cut, I had Max and stuff like that. I had that whole suite. I was editing with that. But she said she wanted to be a video editor. And so to do that, what would it take? Right? What would it take? It would take her having her own computer. It would take her having Final Cut or Adobe Premiere or something like that, right? That's what it would take for her to start being a video editor too. But at the time, she was like 13. You know what I'm saying? She was like 13. No. Was she 13? She might have been 11. She might have been 11 at the time. All right? But she wants to be a video editor. Okay, cool. I'm going to support you in that. Right? But the only thing that I could do at the time, because she already had a computer, the computer was a Linux computer, right? It was a Linux computer, and we did that on purpose. I didn't want them having Windows because they had too many viruses. I didn't want to have a Mac because Mac, it's just too expensive to have kids with Macs back then. And so, no, she had a PC, yes. It was a laptop, yes, but it was Linux, okay? What did I do though? I went and searched for it, and I found a video editor for Linux, right? A NLE, right? A non-linear editor for Linux. And so I gave her that, and she started editing videos with it. Okay. As she got better, then I got her the better application, because she started out with something that was kind of like a version of like iMovie. It wasn't iMovie, but it kind of operated like iMovie. You can do this, like kind of small things. And so she started editing videos with it. And then as she got more skills and wanted more features, she was like, I really want to do this, but I don't see anywhere in this application to do this. And so there was another application that had more controls, that had more features. Got her that one. Then she learned that, and she kept on doing it. You know what I'm saying? She kept on making videos. So no, she didn't have Premiere. No, she didn't have Final Cut. But she still worked with what she had and made some great videos. There was times that her whole computer shut down because it was it didn't have the horsepower to be able to do some of the stuff that she was doing. It would shut down, erase her whole video. Then she'd be mad. She'd come in there and then, blah, 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 all this kind of stuff. But the fact was, she was moving forward. She kept on creating. Even through the hard things, she found ways to get around when the computer would normally lock up when she did a certain thing. She figured out another way to do it so it won't lock up. She figured out another way that she can export bigger videos. She figured out another way she can edit videos that were larger than what her computer could really handle. She just figured it out. You know what I'm saying? And this was before AI. This was before, really knowing anything about, being able to ask it, and it walks you all the way through. Like, you had to go try it. And that's what she did. Now, she got to a point that now she has all of that. She has 2 Mac computers. She's got video editors. She's editing for different production companies and all kind of things. She does this on her own, right? Now, don't get me wrong. That's what I do too. But that only for her is what it sparked the interest, because I already did it. Right? So I could teach her. But a lot of times when I'm teaching, I'll get you started. Try something. Right? Figure out your way through it. And then I'll help you as you get stuck. Because I want you doing. I don't want you just sitting there learning from me and then I'm like, okay, do this, do this, do this, do this. And I'm sitting there hand holding you. No. I'll show you one thing. Here's how you import the video, and what are you trying to do next, right? Because I want you to think through it. I want you to build. I want you to understand. And so that's why even on this channel, I'm doing the same thing for you guys. I'm doing the same thing for y'all, chat. I'm leading you to it. Here you go. Take a look at that. What you think about that, right? Here's some examples that this thing falls in. This is a little bit of understanding. Take a look at that, right? Now go out and do something with it, right? Go out and do something with it. Come back in, jump in the chat, tell me if it worked, right? Go in the comments, tell me if it worked. That's what we're doing here, right? But the key is that you have to go and do. It's not only listening. It's listen, go do. That's why I try to cut these videos, not cut them, but when I'm doing these lives in an hour, right? Because what I want you to do is to try it. You know what I'm saying? I want you to go out and try it. I don't want you to just take the information and hold it in and say, I'll try sometime, right? I'll do it at another time. No, go do. You know what I'm saying? Oh, shoot. What? Life Gaming, what's going on, bro? I see I got the raid. Come on now. Come on now, yo, we on. Hey, first time for a raid and done by iLife Gaming, yo. Hey, I appreciate that, bro. I really do. I really do. You know, we in here talking about uh starting where you are. That's what we're talking about. And for those who just joined, if you've never seen me before, my name is Rich B's, the real Rich B's, right? And all I'm trying to do is help people become a better version of themselves. That's what my whole thing is, right? If you want to call it a stick, you can call it a stick, but that's what my whole thing is trying to make sure that people show up as a better version of themselves. And so in doing so, we sitting here talking about, stop waiting, right? Don't wait. Just go and do the thing, right? And so I gave a couple of examples, and as I'm giving examples, my whole thing is for people to just go do it, right? I can show you some information. I can bring you to the fact of a light understanding of a topic. And then for us to really get into some real conversation, you had to go do. You know what I mean? You got to go do. You can't just sit on the information. You got to go do it. And a lot of people want to be on level 10 before they even start. You can't start from level 10. You got to just start. Put your foot to the pavement and start walking it out, right? Whatever that goal, whatever that dream is, whatever that aspiration is, that's what the whole thing is, right? Because if you want to be a professional, you had to start at an amateur, right? You can't be the thing without doing the work first, right? And so what are some of the reasons why people wait? Right? Do y'all know? Jump in the chat. Say it. What are some of the reasons why people wait to actually to reach the goal, to go start to do the goal? Right? What I see is that people have a fear. Same thing. The random fear. That's what I'm talking about. It's fear. Right? Fear of looking bad. Right? Fear of judgment. Right? I know a lot of successful people who never did the legwork. Never. Really? Give me more. What do you mean? A lot of successful people that never did the legwork. What do you mean by that? They never. Yeah. So. What do you? Yeah. What do you mean by that? Because like for me, if I have a dream or goal aspiration, I just talked about it a little bit earlier, so you kind of missed it. But I just start. There's two sides: the planner, execution. Well. That's if you have multiple people, right? If you have multiple people, then you can have a planner and an execution. But a lot of people, like even me, my small business, it's just me. So I have to plan it and I have to execute. You know what I mean? I can't pass it off to somebody else. I got to go do it. Fear of failing, fear of putting the time in and not working out. Exactly. That's exactly right. The fear of people not approving. Exactly. The fear of wasting time, right? Perfectionism, comparison, right? Wanting certainty before you do the thing. That you won't reach your goal if you wait, right? Because waiting is not wisdom. Waiting is fear, right? Trying to stay comfortable. But yet you keep saying that you want the goal, right? But once you realize that waiting is expensive, because waiting costs you momentum, waiting costs you experience, waiting costs you confidence, waiting costs you opportunity. Waiting costs you time. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. It's inevitable where the money flows. They just need a body at certain points. Okay, so let's talk about that. Right? Let's talk about that. Yes, once you get to a certain level, if you've done the thing and you've grown, there is a certain time that you start to have employees, right? When you have these employees, then you can start to have a visionary, have a planning team, and have a team that's going to execute, right? You get buffer room, right? Yeah, you get buffer room that can separate you from the work, from the effort. But until then, right, you got to get out there and do the thing, right? You can't wait to do the thing, because if you do, you'll never get to the place that you can have buffer room. It's just going to be the dream sitting on a shelf somewhere looking pretty that you keep saying, oh man, I really was going to do that. And then you see somebody else do it and you're like, man, I could have did that, man. That was supposed to be me. Yeah, that was supposed to be you. Nobody else had the idea. You had the idea. But you didn't do it. You didn't move. You stayed stuck. You poured concrete on your shoes and stood there. One of the things that I be telling people is, man, I don't let grass grow under my feet. You know what I mean? I don't let grass grow under my feet. I keep it moving from one idea to the next, right? I built a platform called BIPOC Stock, right? You can go to it right now. It's called BIPOCstock.com. BIPOC Stock is a platform that is supposed to help photographers of color sell their photos. Why? Because if you go on Adobe Stock, if you go on Shutterstock, if you go on any one of these stock platforms, what you realize is it's hard to find photos of people of color from the US. That's what I found. And so I built a platform for it. In that platform, though, it took me a year and a half to build. I didn't even tell nobody. I just started building. I started coding. I've never coded an application that did as much as that app does by myself, or even at all, right? So that was, I just did it though. Why did I do it? Because I thought it was something that needed to exist. And I feel like more people need to do that, right? I mean, look at it like this. You put the time in and you are in a position where time is a fleeting resource. Right. You put in the time and see and hope it works out. And the carpet I yanked out from under them, and they wasted 5 years of their life for no gain. I mean, but no, it is gain. There is gain, right? The gain is the fact that you learn something. The gain is like that's the gain. If you don't get to the success that you thought that you would have, then you end up learning something. And a lot of times the learning is better than even if you would have had to achieve the goal. And I think people miss that. Yeah, to use for your next thing, right? If you learn something, then you use it for your next goal, because it always comes back around. And if you weren't successful on that thing, then you'll learn something, and that way you can take the next thing and make it better. So in my example, when I talked about the app that I just built, I built it a year ago, but that app, I took that app, and that was the fuel that was needed to be able to get another client that wanted me to build them an app. Okay, so I built their app, and I built it better than the app that I built. It doesn't solve the same problem, but the way that I built it was better. So I learned something in building that one, and I applied it to my next build, right? So I learned something, and it's the same thing for anything else, right? Like when I started trying to ride a motorcycle, right? And I said this example earlier, I'm going to do a full-on story time about this time when the very first time I got on a motorcycle. So, and I didn't even know how to ride a motorcycle. So, but the first time that I rode a motorcycle, I didn't know how to do it. I got on it, right? And there's something that happened that I'm going to talk about on my story time later on this evening at 5 o'clock when I come back on the stream again. But that whole thing went down the tubes. It was a problem. It was a problem. However, I did learn something. I learned that I could trust myself in trying to do it, even if I don't know how to do it. And even if something happens that's not good, to still get back up and keep going. So I learned something, even though it wasn't totally successful, but it was still a success for me, right? In learning something new. So what I'm saying is there's a practical way that we have to think about this if you have a goal. There's a couple questions that you can ask yourself. One question that you might ask yourself is, what do I already have that can get me toward that goal, right? What do I already have that can help to start the process of me getting toward that goal? It might just be some random thought. It might be somebody that you know. It might be a computer. It might be AI. It might be, a camera. You might have a basic camera and you want to be a photographer. Okay, you have something, right? The next question you might want to ask is, well, what can I do today to get toward that goal, right? So if you ask yourself that, what can I do today to get me toward that goal, right? Once you do that, then the next question you might want to ask yourself is, what is the smallest real step forward? Out of all the things that you can do today, what's the smallest step I can take today to do something, right? You don't have to worry about, well, how do I finish it all, right? What's the next move after I do that? Don't worry about that. You take a step, you walk, you figure it out as you go, right? So if you make it practical for you today, what does practicality look like in this situation, right? If you want to get in shape, start walking, right? You want to start a business, write up an offer, right? You want to fix your money, track your spending, right? You want better relationships, communicate better. You want to create content, record something, right? These are the little things that you can do today to start toward your goal, right? You want peace? Cut one bad thing out today. One thing that you know is not good for you, cut it out today, right? Start where you are with what you have. Stop waiting on perfection. Stop waiting on permission. Stop waiting on a future version of yourself. Start where you are and let the movement teach you as you go. You don't have to be fully ready to begin. You just need to be moving forward to reach that goal. So, listen, I went through a lot today, y'all. I went through a lot today, chat. I'm telling you, I did. You got to go back and watch it if you missed it. But the whole point is get started. Don't wait on it. Don't wait on anybody else. You know what I'm saying? Don't wait on nothing else. You don't need nothing else to get started. Just get started. Put one foot in front of the other. I'm here to tell you that if you do, you can make that goal. I'm pretty sure you can make that goal. Make a decision each day to do something, one little thing toward that goal. Don't go one day without doing something toward that goal, and you will see success. Okay? I'm here to encourage you. My name is Rich Bz, the Real Rich Bz. Go tell a friend to follow your man's Rich Bz right here on Twitch, right? If you want to watch it in archive, go to my YouTube. It's still the Real Rich Bz. Even on TikTok, you can get the shorts, right? Thank y'all for joining me today. I appreciate the raid from Odd Life Gaming, bro. Hey, yo, it's a W. It's a W. It's a W. Hey, I appreciate that. You really, really made my day today for that one. You know? So, hey, listen, I'm going to see you the next time because, again, I'm going to upload this and I'm going to be back this evening because I'm telling you right now, I'm going to stream and tell you that story of the first time I rode a motorcycle. It's a crazy story. It is crazy. So, thank y'all for joining me, man. I appreciate that. I'm really smiling. I got some things I got to do IRL, but hey, I'm really smiling. So, I appreciate that Odd Life Gaming, man. Hey, right back at you, bro. Hey, if next time that I get a good number of people on here, when I end, I'm sending them back to you, bro. I'm sending them back to you, okay? Know that. Know that. You're going to be the first one on my list to get a raid from me. I'm not going to raid anybody else. I'm going to raid you. Very first time I can. All right? So, appreciate you, bro. Thank you so much, man. Hey, all y'all who joined, come back. Come back. See me again. Because, again, my whole channel is about making each one of us to be the best version of ourselves. That's what it's about to me. It doesn't matter where you are right now. I feel like everybody can be a little better. Everybody can grow. Everybody can learn something and make another step forward. And a lot of times on these streams, I'm talking to myself, right? Because I'm not just pointing the finger. You need to change. You need to do. That's not how I roll. You know what I'm saying? I'm thinking about myself. How can I become a better version, right? How can I show up in these conversations and in my life as a better person, as a healed person, as a person that can, you know, have great relationships, great friendships, right? Have great interactions with my chat, right? I'm not the type that's going to sit here and yell at my chat and all that kind of stuff. No, man, we going to have, come on, man. It's all positive vibes here. You know what I'm saying? We going to win. We going to win together. So I appreciate y'all for joining me today. Listen, make sure you smash that follow button. Thank you for everybody who followed today, right? We're also on our subscriber tip. I got 4 subscribers now, right? I ain't even affiliate yet, but I got 4 subscribers. Make sure that you check back with me. You know what I'm saying? Tell a friend to tell a friend. Follow your man, Rich Bz, the Real Rich Bz. See you next time. Rich Bz out.